Now, Anastacia Palaszczuk has said South East Queensland's weather emergency is like an unpredictable cyclone. So emergency services have responded to thousands of calls for help and people are being evacuated from their homes. Georgia Simpson joins us live from Ipswich. Georgia, the situation is so severe, schools are going to be closed tomorrow, right?
Yeah, Chris, that is right. State and independent schools will be closed across the entire of South East Queensland tomorrow, and people are being asked to work from home. I am in Ipswich at the moment. My cameraman and I did try to drive back to Brisbane tonight, but we were unable to get through floodwaters, so we had to come back to Ipswich, and this is where we will be for tonight. I do just want to point out that driving back into Ipswich tonight, there wasn't a single car on any of the major motorways. So that is really good to see that people are listening to the advice from authorities, which is just to keep off the roads and to stay home because it is just so dangerous. On the topic of Brisbane, so far 700 millimetres of rain has been recorded for the month of February alone. The last time we saw rainfalls like that was in 1893. So it's been 129 years since Brisbane has seen rainfalls of this magnitude. You've probably seen some of the pictures coming through. They're absolutely unbelievable. Streets are underwater. The amount of debris floating up the Brisbane River is absolutely insane. We've had pontoons breaking free. The ferry terminal at Kangaroo Point as well was seen smashing into houseboats on the Brisbane River. And of course, thousands of homes have been impacted by these floods. But interestingly, it's not as severe flood level-wise as what the 2011 floods were. The Brisbane River peaked at 4.46 metres. In the 2011 floods this morning, it was at 3.1 metres at high tide. But look, regardless of the comparison, Premier Anastacia Palaszczuk has said that the situation is serious. She's asking people to put plans in place for those who live in low-lying areas to think about evacuating. And she's also mentioned that this weather system has been so severe and so prolonged, it's been almost impossible to predict.
No one expected this rain bomb to be sitting over the southeast of our state for such a long period of time. Let me be very clear about this. This is like an unpredictable cyclone, and it is the levels that we have never expected or could never have been forecast. Now everybody is doing a whole lot of extra planning on top of what has already been planned.
Now, Chris, as for the situation in Ipswich, we have been here since about midday driving around, and I can't keep track of what streets and roads are open and closed. There's just so much flooding around. I'm standing on the Don Livingstone 1 mile bridge, and you can see behind me that the Bremer River has absolutely engulfed this road. There is a major flood watch in place for the Bremer River, and it is expected to peak at around 14 to 14.5 metres tomorrow morning. Today we were out and about chatting to locals, and I did catch up with one gentleman who said that he was on his way to help family because SES had actually knocked on their door and told them to evacuate. There was also another gentleman in the Ipswich suburb of Bhuval, and he was saying that he received an emergency text message from the Ipswich City Council late last night alerting him to life-threatening flash flooding.
The first three words were emergency, 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 and it was talking about the release of the water at 4 a.m. this morning. So as a result, I think some of these water that you see behind me is the rising of the flood, because yesterday we could drive across this road. So I think the release that comes down slowly, they say 24 hours before more water comes up, but I think in 24 hours you and I could be standing in water.
I was down to go help family members move down further down there, down near the Centrelink, but yeah.
Can't get across?
Nah, not a chance. No, I'm not risking that.
Yeah. So do your family members have to leave their home because it's being inundated with water?
Yeah, they've been evacuated by the SES, so we just got a phone call about 20 minutes ago now, so no one else can get through to help them, so I thought I could get through on foot, but...
There are 10 local government areas impacted by this severe weather in Queensland, Chris, and Prime Minister Scott Morrison touched down in Queensland this afternoon. He said that although this weather could be sort of easing tomorrow, that flood levels could remain high in many places.
I spoke to the Premier yesterday when I was in Sydney and to get an update of where things were, and sadly things have deteriorated since then, more than expected. And so we're hopeful that tonight the forecast with this weather system moving and deteriorating will eventuate, and that will take some of the pressure off. But we anticipate, from what I've just been briefed on, that those flood levels remaining are high for 3 or 4 days or thereabouts.
Sadly, Chris, 6 people have lost their lives during this flooding disaster in southeast Queensland, including an SES volunteer. 62-year-old Merrill Dre died while trying to help a family west of Ipswich. The main message from authorities is tonight and into tomorrow, just please stay off the road, stay home and look out for one another.